In today's video, we're going to look at how to perfectly color an image right from a camera or your phone so that you can go from something looking like this to something looking like this. And I'm going to go into the nitty-gritty so you understand what certain things mean and how to take advantage of them to get amazing photos. Let's get straight into the video. We can literally do this in Lightroom or Photoshop, but just because Christopher requested for it in the comment section below, I'm going to use Lightroom. All right, so I'm going to go straight and I'm going to open my Lightroom. Now the key to editing and getting amazing photos is more about taste and preference than it is about anything. All right, because at the end of the day, different people have different signatures, and then you would have to probably try a lot to know exactly which one works for you. I have tried some, and there are some that I say that I call amazing that I wish I could do, but mostly the try and errors have been there. But there are certain things that have become a staple for me in all the photos that I use. All right, so Lightroom is quickly booting up, and I got some pictures online that we are going to be using. I'm going to put a link in the description for these photos so you can try along. All right, we are going to learn how to manipulate the various colors and how to get the colors to be the way that we want it to be. All right, and let's just get straight into it. So we have 5 amazing photos that we have .NEF. So it means it was shot with a Nikon camera. So it's a raw image, it's a raw Nikon camera image. I have a Nikon D3700. You can look at that to how to go into the get amazing photos with that camera. Nikons are very good when it comes to photos. So these pictures are amazing. I have 5 of them, but today I really want to play with the colors. All right, so I'm going to play with the one that offers me enough colors to play with so that we can learn how to tweak and put colors the way we want them to be. So I'm going to go straight into Lightroom, and I'm going to load all of these images. I made a video right here talking about my super fast Lightroom workflow that makes me put smiles on my client's face because I deliver work so fast to them, they don't know how I do it. So I'm quickly going to go here. If you look right here, I'm clicking on the import and I'm going to navigate. I talked about all of this. Look at these are some photos that I worked on, and once again my clients were super happy. Here I am, so I will probably share these photos online. They came out really well. All right, so I'm going to go in the navigate. I have users, I have media. So you have to look for yours, okay, and then you look for where your photos are. I know where my photos are, so I go in there, and then these are my 5 photos. All right, so I have the 5 photos come in. I'm going to go all the way to this side from library. I'm going to click on develop now. All right, and in develop, look at this photo. Amazing photo. Nikon is so good when it comes to pictures, right? It has all the textures in place, but you know, this I would use this for a retouching tutorial, not just to show you the color grading. I'm not going into color grading today. And here we have also an amazing photo. So I think it's going to be between this and this. In here we have some greens. Greens are something that we always want to be playing with. All right, so I think I'm going to be going ahead with this because I still have my but there are some browns here, and then yeah, so let's use this quickly for our color grading. Now the first thing I do is that when I get photos like this, usually I have my LUTs already lined up on the side, so I'll just slap my LUTs on and then I tweak from there. But I'm going to go right from how I approach my photos. The first thing I do is that I try to look at the color balance. All right, so the color balance is looking at the temperature, whether it's too warm, too cold, whether there are greens or magenta. If you look at it here, you can see that this is the white balance. We have ash shot, auto, daylight, cloudy. All these options are available for you in your camera. If you shoot in raw, you have the options to play around with it. So play shoot in raw. All right, so if I should choose daylight right now, you see how it gives a little warm look to the image. If I choose cloudy, even more warmer. If I choose shade, even more warmer. And look, you can just look at that. But if I go to ash shot, this is how it was shot, and I think it's okay. I like it the way it is. If not, I would play around with it just to get it to look the way that I want it to be. So that's the first step for me. And what you can always do is that you can always select this tool here, this particular tool here, and then you select any neutral part in the photo. All right, please click on darker neutral, so just click on some. Right, so the camera tries to set white balance for you. Obviously it does too warm, so I'm not going to take that. All right, the next thing for me is I will quickly come here into my basics, and in the basics I'm off here, but I'll come back again to end here. All right, and what I do quickly is I usually a lot of the time take my highlights down. Now if you look at the highlights, all right, an image gives us the very blacks, which are like the very blacks. We have the shadows, so shadows are usually around the skin, and then we have the mid-tones also in the skin, and then we have highlights and then white. The highlights are extremely blown out, and then the white. So we have all of that here, and what I want to do quickly is always bring my highlight down, because if you bring the highlight down, you bring the details in from the very exposed areas. So look at what's happening, and you see as I do that, it affects only these areas because those are the extremely white areas. All right, so I bring it down to just capture some detail in there. And the next thing is I also want to bring my blacks down, and the moment I start doing that, you see this is becoming it's very contrasty. If you can press Y, you can see the before and after. So this is it before and this is it after. Already there's some little contrast coming in there. I tend to always bring down my contrast to say 11, reduce it by 11, so that I get something more flat but contrasty at the same time. And what I also do is that I will take my shadows up a little. Shadows are usually affecting the skin, so if you look at that, you see it's mostly the skin like that. Look at the hair, that's like around where the shadows would be. All right, so I'll take that one up just a little bit and compensate with a little bit of the black. Take the highlights down, and I'm not going to touch the exposure yet. The next thing is I go to my lens correction, remove chromatic aberration, and enable profile correction. So it says to me that this was shot on a Sigma 85 1.4. That explains a lot of the background blur that we have in here, and then the compressed background. So I'm going to go straight away into my tone curve. Now I'll make separate videos explaining the tone curve to you. But what the tone curve allows us to do is play with the dynamic range of this photo and add mix in colors and subtract in colors wherever we want. If you look at this tone curve here, you can see we have the very top here. Those are the very white. All right, and then we have the highlights here, we have the mid-tones here, and then we have the shadows, and then finally the blacks. Just like we had here, everything is aligned here. But in here we have 4 options. We have the combined, everything combined, and then we have this, that's R, G, and B. And now when you have any of this, you can also underneath it write C, M, Y, right? See it like CMY, cyan, magenta, and yellow. So if you are adding red to an image, you are adding red. But if you are removing red, what you're automatically doing is adding the green plus blue, which gives us the cyan. All right, so you can see by removing the reds, I'm adding cyan. By adding the reds, I'm adding red. So that's what we're going to be doing. You get the option to be able to add reds or remove reds, or into brackets add cyans. If you have the greens, yes. So here you have the option to either put more greens into your photos, or you have the option to remove greens. That's technically put more magenta into the photo. If you double click on it, you reset, and here we have the option to add blue or add yellows to the image. So just know that RGB and then also CMY, so cyan, magenta, and yellow. You add reds or you that's how he balances. Now what I do is that you have the option. Usually people end up doing what we call the S curve. All right, so they click here and then they leave a spot. They click also at the shadows and then they leave a spot. And then you see people trying to take out the what's the name, the highlights, and then also break down the shadows, and then take down them. Like this is what people usually do on their images. I'm not talking about this. All right, but what I want you to do is that for me, when I look at an image, all right, the first thing I look at is, what do I really want for this image? Know that if I start playing with the very blacks, if I take the blacks all the way here, all right, you can see what's happening. as I'm moving the curve, this is obviously the brighter end is going up, so I can just clip that one down. If you take the blacks here, you are making the blacks very black, and then if you take the black here, you are giving this this Instagram look, this Instagram kind of look. That is, if that is what you're looking for, then you can go for it. All right, but I tend to always go for a little bit of that. All right, so and then I'll bring my shadows down just a little bit to create contrast. I'll make a different tutorial on the toe curve and how I other way go around it, but usually I will bring down the shadows. All right, and then in the mid-tones I'll bring up the mid-tones just a little. If I click on the before and after, before and after, before and after, that's too much contrast going on there, so it's my job once again to quickly work on that. So I'll bring up my shadows and then I'll make up for that, and also bring down the highlights, like they're very white. I just have to take it down just a little bit. All right, so this you have to play with depending on the image that you have. If I look at them before and after, so there's a little punch in it. But what I also do is that I go to the blues, all right, and then also this also has shadows, midtones, and all of that. Shadows are, like we said, the dark part of the images, not the black part, and then the blacks are the extremely blacks. So what I like to do is I like to always put some blues in my shadows. So I hold this part and tilt it up just a little bit. So I'm putting some blues in my shadows. I can try to go the other way and put some yellows, but I always tend to put just some little blues in my shadows. And then in my highlight, I'm going to put in some yellows in my highlight. So you can see before and after, before and after, before and after. Don't worry, you're not yet done. Then we're going to go to the HSL or the colors. So here we get to play with the colors. Just imagine I just come here, touch green, and then change the color of green. Look in the background. I just change the color of green, just like that. So this is where you get to play with the colors. If I make this green, look at how now the green looks like. All right, so you have that option to do all of that. But what I always do is that I start from luminance, go to hue, and then finish with saturation. So with the luminance, I'm going to take away the colors that I don't want, okay? Because the darker the color is, the less obvious it's going to be showing. I start with the very greens and I go all this way. So I just start taking the greens down, reduce the brightness of the greens, because nobody usually wants greens in the images like that. I'll take aqua. The key to mastering this luminance scale is playing with it. Take it down, take it up, zoom in, and see what is really affecting. You see, it doesn't really affect much. Reduce the luminance then. We try the blue, take it up, take it down. What is it really affecting? There's not a lot of blues in this image. Now come to yellow, take it down. Oh, we are seeing the effect right away. So there is yellow in the sunflower and there's also yellow in the background, the greens. So you know how you can bring it down just a little bit, but not too much. All right, if I look at before and after, before and after, I'll definitely bring out the greens just a little bit. All right, you look at the oranges, so that's her skin. All right, so I'll just give that like say +2 or 3. And then if you try the reds, that's her lips, and I'll also definitely take that one up, just say by 8. Awesome. Next, let's go to the hue, where we get to play with the colors. So are there any magentas? Not really. What about purples? Not really going on there. Double click to reset. What about the blues? Now there are blues in her eyes. I think I saw blues in her eyes. All right, nothing really happening. So we are lucky. There's not really a lot of blues for us to play with. But if you look at the greens now, there we have work to do. So you have the option to go this way with the greens, make it very orangey like in the fall, or you can make it very green like this. So that option is mainly up to you and how you want your look. I'll go this way and make it a little bit like that. And now with the yellows too, by bringing your yellows here, you're giving it this sunset feel, and by going the other way, you're giving this greenish feel. I tend to walk towards the orangey patch just to give it that sunset feel. And with my orange, that's her skin. You don't want to play so much with the skin. All right, if you go here, you're making it yellow. If you go here, you're making it red. So I'll tend to go to -3, -2, that's fine. And the reds, this is towards orange, this is towards red. I tend to go towards the red and make the reds very red. So if you look at the before and after, before and after, and let's look at the overall before and after, you can see there is clearly a difference in the image. This image feels warmer and I would say better compared to this, which has all of that going on. So that is literally how you go. And I'm going to go to the saturation. I'm going to take the greens all the way down. You see this is saturated green, and this very, I'll take it just down a little bit. With the yellows, I'll give it a little notch. Oranges, I'll take it down, say -3, right? And then the reds, yeah, I keep the reds where they are. All right, they are not really part of the other colors in there, so I'm just going to leave them the way they are. And the last thing would be to go back again, once again, and then start playing with the high. I'm going to increase the exposure just a little bit, and then I'll take my shadows up once more, bring the blacks down just to create a little bit more contrast. And then I go all the way to the saturation. Take my saturation down to say by 11, and then compensate that with the vibrance by increasing the vibrance all the way up to say 50. So you can see the before and after. This is the before and the after. You can see that they clearly we've colored this up to bring things to where they are. So this is some pretty little skills that I do. The goal to color grading is that you have to have a picture in mind. You can research and look at people's photos, see the ones that you love and the ones that you would want to do, and then you take inspirations in there. There is a part that you have to be true to yourself, but by playing with the colors, playing with around, that is how you get very good when it comes to color grading. Lightroom is not a very difficult app to use. There are many ways to get around it. I have a very quick workflow that I always use to make my clients very happy because I'm able to turn out the pictures very, very, very fast. I made a video right here. Check it out, click on it, and then catch you in the very next one. Peace.